Pope Francis is recovering in a Rome hospital right now after undergoing abdominal surgery Wednesday.
The Vatican says surgery to repair a hernia went smoothly, but this latest hospitalization has raised concerns about the 86-year-old's health. Yesterday's procedure was likely related to an operation that the Pope underwent in 2021 to remove half of his colon. Recently, the Pope was forced to cancel engagements after experiencing exhaustion and a fever. He was also hospitalized in March with bronchitis and has been struggling with several orthopedic issues, all contributing to concern over the Pope's ability to handle a rigorous schedule.
CBS News foreign correspondent Chris Livesay is following the story for us right outside where the Pope is being treated in the hospital behind you. Chris, great to see you. Bring us up to speed. How is the Pope doing?
Yeah, good to see you guys too, Errol and Lana. According to the Vatican, the Pope is doing well. He slept peacefully through the night. He's staying on the top floor right over my shoulder. They're saying he's alert, he's breathing fine, and he's generally doing well. It remains to be seen, of course. The doctor who oversaw the surgery said, Pope Francis has been through a lot. This is the third abdominal surgery he's undergone that we know of. And as you mentioned, back around Easter time, he was hospitalized for a bad case of bronchitis, and he happens to be overweight and he's 86 years old. So anytime somebody's in those conditions, a trip to the hospital is serious, especially when you're the Pope.
Pope Francis is beloved by so many. What can you tell us about those get well wishes that he's receiving, and what is the Vatican saying about his timeline in terms of returning to work?
So Pope Francis has said that, he's aware of all those notes, the well-wishing that he's receiving, and of course he says that it moves him. Anytime Pope Francis comes to the hospital, and I have to say he's become something of a regular following this recent string of hospital scares. He's got lots of faithful, lots of pilgrims, you could say, who come to the hospital to show this outpouring of support for their pontiff. As far as getting back to work, it kind of depends on what you mean by that. If you talk to the surgeon, he'll tell you that Pope Francis got right back to work right after his operation yesterday from his hospital bed, which he's prone to do. He did the last time he was hospitalized for bronchitis as well. As for his audiences, those have been canceled all the way up until June 18th. And for the actual recovery time, at least in the hospital, typically, his surgeon says, that takes between 5 and 7 days. But again, that's typical. So we don't know exactly how Pope Francis is going to respond, especially considering his other comorbidities. But anyway, he's also got some of the best health care in the world,
Sure.
And he happens to be something of a workaholic. So I'm sure he's chomping at the bit.
But there's, questions, Chris, as to if he should keep working, right? That's kind of the subtext of this story. As you mentioned, his third abdominal surgery, his second hospitalization of the year. It's only June. Any indication that he may go the way of Pope Benedict and step down and retire because of his health?
The short answer is no. Pope Francis gets asked this question all the time, anytime he has a press conference, really, and he does his best to bat those insinuations away. He says that he has no plans of stepping down. He said, he happens to suffer from mobility problems. He's got knee pain, hip pain. He suffers from sciatica. That's often forced him to walk with a cane or even confined him to a wheelchair. But he's fond of saying that you don't need your legs in order to run the church. All you need is your head. And he's even elaborated on that to say that so long as I'm not incapacitated, I'm going to continue to do my job. And so far, so good.
All right, Chris Livesay, as you mentioned, he has some of the best health care. He also has a lot of prayers. We know that. Thanks.